Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's daily brief. Here we are back in the saddle. It is Tuesday. They used to call this like Super Tuesday, I think, if I'm not mistaken, down in the States. But I think actually that's more to do with presidential elections. It looks like we're live on YouTube, so that's good. But long and short of it, here we are. It is finally this big political day in the United States of America we've been waiting for the past couple of weeks. So it's good to see that we'll finally get this event behind us. I spent a lot of time actually trying to explain the political event in the United States, especially for a lot of our Europeans and Asians and stuff who don't understand how the American political system works. Hopefully that was a little bit of a help yesterday, the way I sort of walked through all that. And actually, yeah, I did find out later on, U.S. Senate is 6-year terms, and there's about, I think there's about 20 or 30 seats that are up for grabs in the Senate. But ironically enough, most of those seats that are up for election are actually currently held by Democrats. So it's not like the Democrats can take control of the Senate. If anything, in the U.S. Senate race, they're more concerned about just keeping the numbers as they are. The polls are suggesting that the Democrats are going to take control of the House, but when it comes to politics, I wouldn't guarantee anything here. Anything can happen, and we might just find tomorrow morning that it turns out the Republicans won everything. You never know in this crazy world. So, if it's one thing I definitely do not do, it's make bets on politics, because usually I'm dead wrong. But anyway, we will see how the dust settles with regard to equity markets and how sort of things are setting up. We could, maybe just take a quick boo at some of the bigger markets. It's interesting to see the U.S. dollar index is kind of floundering a little bit up top here. We now actually have divergences that are trying to confirm we have Willie Stupid. So we may actually find that we actually get a scenario where the U.S. dollar actually has to come back off. You can see, interestingly enough, we may even have a scenario on the U.S. dollar index where you get sort of like a fractal top that comes in here. Where we start this measurement, that's a tough one, but you can sort of see left shoulder, neckline, head, and interestingly enough, we've got this trend line off of these lows that corresponds nicely with 38.2. So I'm thinking, at the very simplest way to sort of analyze this, maybe we come back against this trend line there or something along those lines. So I think this is sort of the world that we're trapped in right now. I definitely have a hard time being bullish in the face of this. So, if you are a bull, what do we often say to bulls if you see a bearish divergence staring you in the face? Temper, very good, Cole. Excellent. Well said. Temper your enthusiasm. So I'm kind of feeling like maybe this is a scenario, but let's keep an eye on this. You never know. I mean, by the end of today, like I said, with these political events, if the Republicans come charging in and take over the election results, maybe the U.S. dollar pivots here. We should probably also make reference to, I am of the opinion that we're probably best just to let this event pass. And then let's hunt setups on the actual event finishing. So, a little bit of historical context for you, like the gold market, for example. Back in 2016, at the end of that year into this political event, we had the gold market coming off. It counter trend rallied, and then this event right here was that election right there. There's a guy, anybody who's in the level 1 program, I highly encourage you all to read the Market Wizards books. as you're sort of getting ready for the program to start up, to, just sort of, get a feel for the environment that you're going to be living, the world that you're going to be living in as a professional trader. I don't know. Did any of you guys read the Market Wizards books? You know who I'm where I'm going with this conversation? Everybody should have one gentleman's name in mind, and is his trade right here. Anyone? No one? Oh, anyway, the gentleman's name is Druckenmiller, Stanley Druckenmiller. And on that election event, gold, it was really interesting on the results. Gold went shooting up like, 50, 60 bucks an ounce. And then all of a sudden it just melted down and collapsed. And the news coming out afterward was Mr. Druckenmiller said that he stepped up and he just nailed this son of a bitch here and just shorted the shit out of gold right there. What's cool about what we do, looks like Dav said he participated in that, so way to go, Slick. But hopefully what you guys can see here is that this is everything that we teach in the program. Location, 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 right? I mean, talk about a location. This might be a little bit hard for sort of new people to trading to be able to just have an open order working to sell in that, especially when you see the insane volatility that came into the market. But hopefully everybody can look at this chart and go, well, gee whiz, there was a big M there, so it kind of makes sense that people would be working shorts. And there's a big fat reload zone, so really location. That makes sense why guys are going to strap on some shorts. And you can sort of see the end result. So this is a very realistic sort of scenario that we could be facing here today, guys. Just be aware of that, right? And this is, for new people to trading, I would just suggest you avoid this, right? Because you're going to get chopped up. You're going to psychologically, as the gold market's shooting up like 50, 60 bucks an ounce, you're actually going to be like, holy shit, it's a buy. I got to get in there and buy it. But what's actually happening is the market's setting up into actually a selling window. Why do I mention the gold and the metals in particular? We've talked lots recently about things like the professor of economics, high-grade copper. And we've, taken a quick boo at the gold and silver market. And actually, the one market that actually does surprise me a little bit is this silver. It was looking very toppy. Then they went up and busted the top. Typical silver guys. These guys are so corrupt. But nonetheless, kind of just sideways action, probably a trading range in here. If you are a silver bull, I would probably, through this election event, keep a good eye on reload zones, very much like we saw with that gold 2016 election event, right? Keep your eye definitely peeled down here. We already have the reload zone set up on the copper, and I suppose gold to a certain degree, same sort of thing. So let's see. We might, if we're lucky, we might be given a nice little gift here over the next 24, 48 hours on a big dip in these metal prices against these lows. Brian, he loves candle body lows. Candle body lows, 78.6s. This candle body low is pretty deep, but you can see all these here. 78.6. Look at all these candle body lows down in here against 78.6. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on these levels down in here. And if anything, what that would mean is maybe we have like a little bit of a counter trend rally in the gold, in the US dollar index, right? And you can see we've got a little bit of wiggle room here now in this market. The divergence hasn't completely confirmed, right? If we're looking at this MACD 0.0526 and we're sitting at 0.04. So we haven't actually confirmed the divergence yet. We might just pivot right back up and come back up and test the top of this potential head and shoulders here. In fact, same sort of logic. If we see the gold and the metals coming down, it probably means that maybe we're going to get like a nice little counter trend rally up into a reload zone here on the US dollar index, right up in that area there. So for those people that are interested, I'd be keeping a good eye on this. as a level. So let's watch how this develops through here. You know, swing traders, I made this comment yesterday, and I'm actually starting to see the market settle down a little bit here. So that's a good sign. But I noticed that when we had that sort of time zone shift, and like Dav this morning was like, what the hell? Are you guys changed your clocks yet there over there in that crazy North America place? I actually had the message pinned to the lounge. It's, you know, it's kind of after the fact now, so it's not really that big of a deal. But if there's important messages for the site, I'll just pin the messages. So, you know, all the people that are in the school program, they see lots of these pinned messages on Rocket Chat and stuff. But I had pinned the time zone, just if anybody was just curious, that message was sitting there. And if there's sort of like system-wide messages that I get lots of people asking about, I'll throw those messages on the pinned. So maybe if you're kind of like, well, you know, I think I saw him mention something recently, but I don't see the post in here. Check out the pinned messages. I often put messages in there for everybody. Okay, so we're finally coming to the end of this political sort of malaise. We've got the clocks changed, so I'm actually starting to feel like we probably can go back into setup hunting mode here on the swing trader. And what's so cool is Stuart and I had our Tuesday morning algo meeting, and he's got the divergence indicator down really cool. We're just slowly putting more sort of finishing touches on the indicator, but we should be able to actually create a 4-hour screen for these L-Tangonators, which, you know, going down the road should make our sort of setup hunting process a lot easier for everybody. I thought it was really cool. You know, the screeners, good old Dav, and Dav is here. So, and Dav was kind of like, holy shit, there's a few people that are interested in this stuff. Well, dude, if the setup works, right? So, you know, and remember, everybody, my number one job here is to make all of you famous. So if I can make you guys famous, I will. if by the end of this journey I have half of North America trading Davos, well, so be it. And they're all going to be like, who is this genius guy, Dav? Dav, wow, man. And if I'm not mistaken, Dav, don't we? Aren't you going to do a presentation for us of your Pandora's wallet or something like that coming up soon?
Yeah, I'm going to be doing that on the 14th. We're going to be talking about Pandora's wallet. I'm going to be showing you guys how that works, and it's basically a software so that we could help reduce the risk of keeping your coins on exchanges by taking possession of your coins directly. So
that's a good idea. Yeah. In essence, you know, I didn't want to send you off on a tangent. I apologize. Just wanted I do see you got your camera on. Anytime somebody has their camera on, you're always going to score bonus points with me. So I saw you there working away diligently. And I guess is it heading into spring, summertime there for you now? So, but we'll hear lots from Dav here, I guess, next week. Is that next Wednesday? Wednesday the 14th.
I think is it Wednesday or I could have sworn.
It's up to you and Alex. Alex is driving the bus here. He's the mayor.
Okay.
And if anything, this should be a shout out. We need to remind everybody, if you are planning on doing presentations, you got to check with the boss. Alex is the boss here. So, you know, like I know, Jamie, we had a little bit of confusion about whether you were going to do a presentation or not. Jamie, if you're watching this later on, or if you're over on YouTube or whatever, remember, Alex is the mayor and he drives the bus. So you got to be on the same page with the mayor. But
it's on the 14th. I just up again, Dave.
Okay, so 14th is Wednesday. Yeah. So Dav, maybe just double check with Alex. Make sure you guys are on the same page, okay? Anyway, back to our story. We've got simple DAVs firing, and we've also got very basic L-tangonators firing. And this absolutely touched my heart this morning. I have to say, I mean, he's one of the TAs. He works with, I see Raf is here. I don't see him here, though, on the call. But James is working with myself and Raf as the TA for the level 2 and level 3ers. And I mean, he's just absolute sweetheart. In fact, actually, I think, if I'm not mistaken, James and Adam are going to come on tomorrow and do a sort of Puerto Rican update, right? But I just wanted to make reference to the fact that James actually took one of these L-tangonators, this Mylan Labs trade, and the son of a bitch went and just knocked the fucking cover off the ball. Can everybody can see the screen here? I mean, this is ridiculous. So here's the divergence. Here's the double bottom. What's really cool about this too was, hopefully everybody can see, what do we call when you have a bar that opens up lower than the previous day's bar and then closes above that bar? It's a key reversal, right? Engulfing bar, right? Actually, I don't think we can call this key because it didn't open up below this one, but absolutely beautiful engulfing bar. Nice double bottom, right? And the market even gave you a couple of days to get in on this trade. And what was really cool about this, and Sjord is actually put in the here where you can actually look at the charts of these. So all you got to do is just load this up in the morning and just simply go chart surfing, right? Here was the Mylan Labs. I mean, just an insane trade. But you can see a few of these have just gone absolutely nuts here. So hats off to James. Congratulations. Anybody else on the site who took the trade? Fucking A. I mean, way to go. I hope you guys realize that. And I think most of you do. I don't give a shit about money. If I don't think about money, money takes care of itself. If I'm here just to help you guys, be a really good role model, be a demonstrator of best practices, all that kind of stuff, then the money just takes care of itself. What I absolutely love is to see you guys succeed. Oh my God. It makes me so happy. And when James told me that, and the funny thing is he goes, well, the trade only took 2 or 3 days. I was expecting this to actually, maybe I was going to sell maybe sometime around Christmas or into the new year. Now what the fuck do I do? Oh, what a tough life to live, eh? But anyway, the point of the matter here is Sjord kicking ass, building out just an incredible website for all you people. The screener is now producing some very basic results, and we'll just keep building this out. And what's really cool is going forward, for people that are interested in swing trading and stuff like that, we're also going to be running this off lower timeframes and stuff. It's just a question of just getting the data, that's all. So I'm just so pleased with what I'm seeing on this site. 1 + 1 = 3. We're all sort of working together to find good, better trades. And what I really liked about this, what James told me, was he just simply took the screener results. He looked at the charts, and when you do 50% rules, and you can see, gee whiz, there's quite a room for this thing to run. He just simply went and did a TRI SOF, secret options formula. And if he could buy 6 months' time, where at the 50% rule, the option will have double the intrinsic value of whatever it was trading here. And he went and took the trade. So hats off to you, James. Congratulations. Anybody else who took the trade on the site, way to go. And I couldn't think of a better person to see success. James totally deserves it. So, congratulations. Okay, so, that's the kind of environment that we're in right now. I think, if anything, when we look at a lot of these charts, kind of like what you're seeing here, And we sort of showed you just very briefly off of the grid view here of the actual charts. I think the market melted down there, right? Very sort of typical September, October price action. And this is what we would call, but Mr. Tesla doesn't want us to call it that anymore. But, can you guys see, does it make sense that these are just nothing more than just bounces off of the bottom? And if anything, I'm not necessarily saying that the stock market's a new bull market. We probably are just going to be stuck in a trading range for quite a while. That's usually what happens. But I think it's important for us to note that usually the third year of a presidential term is usually kind of friendly. Yeah, they do, Mickey. Mickey, especially, the key here, Mickey, is 50% rules. That's the key of this, right? So do yourself a favor and just simply pull up your chart and go back and just do a 52-week range, sort of 50% rules. What's the sort of relative high? What's the relative low? And this is very natural for the market. It's just going to oscillate around this 50% rule. So I think they might have had some good news. And of course, that doesn't hurt. I think these guys are in the pharmaceutical sector, right? And actually, this is a 4-hour chart, so it might actually be a little bit misleading. There's the daily chart, right? Do stocks normally just gap violently and go crazy like this? Not normally, but does this happen? I mean, you can see these, and I think Mylan Labs is a pharmaceutical stock, aren't they? So, if they come out with some half-decent earning numbers, it shouldn't surprise us to see this kind of price action. And really, anybody looking at this chart should, what I'd really like for you guys to take away from this is this was kind of like, have you ever heard the expression throwing the baby out with the bathwater? Right? So you could probably see like AB, if I go like this, and then clone, and then go like this, and go CD. You see how that was basically at the end of a AB equals CD kind of move? I don't think it quite hit it though. Came close. And then, we start getting signs of divergence, and I think this had Davos and stuff all over it. But the long and short of it here is you can see this cheeky little gap right here. Can you see that gap right there? And then there's this big hole in the charts up here. So when we get, and especially, Mickey, have you ever heard the expression? Who can help Mickey with this expression? Buy when it's somethings, sell when it's somethings. Anybody? Buy when it snows. Thank you, Thomas. Oh, Mickey, you already know this. Okay, good. So really, end of October, beginning of November, this is really where we should be expecting bottoms to come in. And of course, seasonally, and remember, what's the public thinking? The public thinking, oh, the end of the world, end of the world. Now, if you wanted to play this, kind of like what you saw here, right? Don't chase the gap. If you want to buy after a big jump up, well, just throw on your reload zones and start working your bids. So hopefully everybody can see how this sort of happened. And this, was, where was that? That was through September, right? And then it launched higher. This is the kind of action. So I'd want you to hunt. So obviously you can't be a buyer here. But if you are interested in this thing and it does calm down, do you see, Mickey, what a coincidence, a reload zone basically lining up with where the market originally broke out. So if you do want to own this, buy when it snows, all that kind of talk, right? Well, it looks like this. They're painting this area as sort of the buy window. Do not chase this here, please, people. It's way too late for this. And then also, too, I think, a big thing that's sort of on my mind right now is position squaring. So, I think the market sort of through this kind of said, Looks like the old political power that was in charge is no longer going to be in charge, so we have to do a repricing of the market. As well, we have interest rates going up, which changes the investment landscape quite a bit. And I don't know whether this is a rip-roaring new bull market or not, on a higher, especially if we look at like a weekly chart. Right, this is just going to be nothing more than just a V bottom. I suppose you could argue that that's, I don't know whether that gapped higher, but it's almost like a Joby gap kind of setup there. And really, W's on the weekly charts, this is kind of what we want to see for us to know that there's a sustainable floor here. If anything, what I'm thinking is, and especially on a name like this, we're probably going to get a counter trend rally back into reload zones. Do you see how that's going to be right against these candle bodies? Oh, look, there's a cheeky little gap right in there to be filled. More candle bodies. Brian loves his candle body levels for trade location. You can sort of see, hopefully, everybody, how the short trade is actually setting itself up here. I mean, I love the fact that us, traders were able to grab this pivot and make money off of it. But when I look at this lower highs and lower lows weekly time frame, I'm thinking if and when we get back up into this area, that's probably going to be a pretty interesting shorting trade location up in there. So we'll keep an eye out. Way too late to be a buyer, still too early to be a shorter. Right now, the guys that did buy against the low end of the range, and really this is so cliche, guys? Hopefully everybody can see the reload zone down here. So, and really, a lot of crypto, it actually looked almost exactly the same thing, right? I could pull up an Ethereum chart and it looks almost identical to this. So hopefully what you guys are seeing is that it doesn't, the asset itself doesn't make any difference. This is really just a commentary on human emotions and human perception of value and the way humans act in the marketplace. Really no difference. So anyway, just wanted to mention the fact that James got off a nice win this morning. Congratulations, James. We're already seeing people applying the information gleaned off of the screeners to make money from trading. And of course, that's absolute music to my ears. Jesus, look at this crazy ass one. Jesus, just like launching higher here. Okay, I think I'll probably leave that conversation there. What time is it? Oh, Jesus, time sure goes by quick here, right? Individual stocks. I think I got an absolute gift the other day, and ironically enough, this is about James too. I swear this whole show is the James show. I don't know whether you guys saw, but Stanimal, Stan, and actually it was so cute. Yeah, I noticed that, but I also, this actually is very, this is almost exactly what I was sort of projecting yesterday, All right, I drew these rally peak fibs. So I kind of thought we were going to come back to 38.2 here, and so I did that, and I said I'm going to be hunting reload zone pullbacks here. You see that, Grim? So yeah, good to see DPW is getting its act together. That's encouraging. V bottom gapping here, and of course gappy Kavarks and all that kind of conversation. You can see where Brian's probably going to be working his bids in the not too distant future. But I was going to mention the uranium stocks are all getting sexy again here. Cameco broke out to new highs here on a weekly basis. Waiting on Denison. Denison hasn't broken out per se yet. We ran up and tested the highs. The stock that I bought just the other day was this U308. And I had talked to you guys about how this was a VCIM stock, and how James had said that he got a fill because he was working a bid to try and buy this gap, and it gapped higher after he got his fill, and I missed the trade, and I said, okay, well, I'll see if I can join you. And so I got my fill there the other day, and look how this thing just perked right up off of the floor there. As I was sort of talking with Alex earlier today, I'm kind of feeling like, and of course it's pure conjecture, but this is sort of my interpretation, is the coal industry and the Republican Party in the United States are extremely tight. I listened to another gentleman actually even today say that the GOP, the Republican Party in the United States, is the absolute worst thing that could happen to humanity, which I thought was a pretty bold statement. It was a guy named Noam Chomsky, if you've ever heard of him before. And he made the argument that it's worse than some sort of country dictator because these guys are systematically ignoring the whole global warming conversation, and they're actually empowering fossil fuel development and marketing and promotion. And he feels like this is genocide. It's sending humanity over a cliff here. Well, you know, there are a lot of people in the political realm who believe that global warming would happen regardless of whether humans were here or not. I'm not going to get into that debate, but I'll just say that I believe one of the reasons why uranium kind of was on the outs recently was because, you know, the coal industry was doing very well. And I don't know whether you guys are aware or not, but like 70–80% of all of our electricity is actually generated through coal. And it's very environmentally unfriendly. So one might argue that if the Democrats do come sweeping into power, they're going to be a little bit more environmentally friendly, which means that they're probably going to be putting the kibosh on new coal plants, maybe even penalizing old coal plants, maybe incentivizing natural gas, incentivizing nuclear as options. And so that's why I wonder whether that's one of the reasons why the uranium market has caught a bid here recently. It's a tough one. I mean, I know Alex and Bart did a great presentation there a week or two ago on the supply and demand dynamics, and we all know that you know, if the market wakes up and becomes relatively nuclear friendly again, that the relative supply is nowhere near what demand could be. So we'll see how that plays out. Long and short of it here is, I think I got a little bit lucky. If this little U308 can break out through the middle of this range, the highs there is 33. Looks like 33 cents, and today's high here is 33. If we can break out there and put that W in, then I'll know that I think we got a pretty good trade going here. It's interesting to see DPW moving up here, even though my other sort of crypto proxies are kind of soft right at the moment. Still waiting on my iMining. Nothing doing there. My Calyx is just banging against the low end of the range. And then, you know, our sort of blockchain, using blockchain in the medical services industry. Damn, you know, this thing looks pretty damn strong, and it just made another new 52-week high. That's the one thing about, all right, Mickey Mick, take it easy. That's the one thing about CanSlim stocks. This was a CanSlim stock. Is some, you know, if these earnings are as powerful as they are, sometimes these damn stocks, they just don't look back. So I might have missed this trade. We'll see how it goes. But, you know, I can't chase this thing up here, but it just made another new high. And if anything, guys, this is what we need to be doing in the blockchain space, trying to find companies that are going to leverage blockchain so that they can improve earnings, become more efficient. And that's basically what CanSlim's all about, is finding companies that are growing earnings like crazy. So, you know, there it is. On any sort of dip, I'll be more than happy to buy, but I got a feeling this guy ain't going to look back for a while, but we'll see how it goes. All right, so that's all that talk. A couple new names in the metal space that Stay Animal is chewing on here. Warrior Gold and New Carlin. Probably if you're not Canadian, you're probably not really that interested in these things, but interesting to keep an eye on. I'll be watching them closely. Still might take a look at this shipping stock if it does come back down to reload zone, but for now, not really doing anything. Sort of continuing that theme of moving away from coal, nuclear, natural gas. Did have this chart that I know there's one guy on Twitter that was really pounding the table. Oh, thank you, Jacques. Really pounding the table about this UPL, Ultra Petroleum. I think one of the major selling features of this stock is they have pretty big deposits in Wyoming and Utah. So, you know, make America great again. And I think this gentleman on Twitter is an American. You know, buy local, all that kind of fun stuff. I can understand how this is going to resonate with the Americans. Somebody on the site this morning said, well, Brian, you know, fundamentally, is this thing such a great idea? I would say fundamentally, it's wishy-washy. You know, it's not something that I'm going to be like pounding the table. And of course, Dav's going to come on here and go, I never heard Brian pound the table once. What the fuck? Look at him chuckling away there. So I already know he's going to say that. But yes, every once in a while I do pound the table, Dav. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make here is, you know, like I pulled up the fundamentals here. Number of shares out 201 million, so that's pretty heavy. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. But at the same time, too, they are sitting on a deposit. They are sitting on an asset. Book value per share, ugly number there. So I'm not going to sugarcoat that. You know, the quick ratio, you can see price to book. Obviously, if they have, you know, they must be carrying a bit of debt here. It's interesting how they don't show the debt to equity. You know, earnings per share this year increasing nicely. But quarter over quarter, we do not see those kind of numbers. So we can't really make an argument this is a can slam. Insiders don't own a hell of a lot of this. And really, I don't see much going on there. And institutions do own quite a bit of this. So I am going to say that, you know, fundamentally, is this sort of like a typical can slam or VCIM stock? No. I think purely this is just nothing more than a technical play on natural gas prices. And they own a pretty big deposit, like I said, in both Wyoming and Utah. And so yeah, my personal feeling here is, number one, technically, is it realistic for us to see a shot up into $3-4 here just from a pure technical perspective? I think it's doable. If you wanted to go and shop for better fundamental like structure on natural gas names, I wouldn't have a problem with that. And in fact, even yesterday afternoon, if I can show you here, but I'm not sure if I still have it on here. Too many screens. My head's going to blow up here. I did a screen on Canadian energy stocks that do have very low shares outstanding and have pretty good looking, you know, 50% rules. You can see 52-week high on this Hunter is 270, lows 14, sitting at 27 right now. You can see a whole bunch of these. I mean, technically, they're looking very appealing, some of them. So I'm going to be sort of ramping up my sort of fundamental screens on the energy space and specifically natural gas, kind of like what we did with the uranium VCIM names there. And I would look at this almost entirely as purely a technical play and a technical proxy on natural gas prices. Having said that, if that doesn't appeal to you as an investor, then don't fucking buy this. I'm not holding a gun to anybody's head. And of course, at the same time, take appropriate risk. You know, maybe I think Grim, if I'm not mistaken, I think you found like some springtime call options at like $3. They were trading at like 2 bits. You know, you want to go at 2 bits, that's 25 cents. So that means each option is $25. You want to go throw like $100 at this thing and go buy 4 of those? This thing pops up into $7, $8, $9, sometimes into the spring, just as a pure technical play, nothing more, right? If we just simply, I'm not saying, you know, let's even just use this high here, right? We don't even have to use crazy ass highs. We'll just use this high here. And, you know, horizontal support and resistance, everybody in the level 2 just did this. And if I'm not mistaken, there's a little gap there. There might be gaps in here. But if we stay, you know, let's say, you know, pie in the sky, we shoot for $7, right? Let's say you go and buy 4 of these at 2 bits, and you sell 2 of them at 50 cents to get all your original money back. And this thing goes to $7. Well, that's $800 on that trade, free and clear, above getting your original money back, right? You only put $100 into it, you're going to get $800 back. That's not a bad return on your money. You know, and that's sort of the kind of stuff that we do here at TRI is we're looking for these asymmetrical risk opportunities. Fun. So just to speak to the person who did bring this to my attention, is this a fundamentally screened idea? No. Is this a technical play? Yes. And I think I'll just leave it at that for now. Okay, let's see. Anything else we want to talk about here? I think I am still working a bit on this blockchain corp. It's sort of just floundering, just sitting at the low end of the range, kind of like U308. I'll just work my bid here at this gap. If I get filled, great. If I don't, no big deal. Orestone, still trying to buy a little bit of that bad boy. And, of course, Timberline, we did buy a little bit here. And, you know, it's a very illiquid stock, these VCIM names. Not a big surprise. They're just sort of floundering here heading into the end of the year. That's actually usually what they do. So, okay. I think that's about all I wanted to talk to you guys about. I mean, the major stock indexes, nothing's really happening here to change any of my opinion here. Dead cat bounce, you know, divergence is coming in. Probably, you know, you can see there's a cheeky little gap right up here on the S&P 500. That could easily be filled in. And there's also, like we said, that, well, I don't think we said, but there's this big gap here. So if anything, stock market land, I think this is your trading range for the next little while. 280 on the upside, 267 on the downside. We're just going to just sort of bang around in here for the next little while. As I said earlier, I'm going to be watching the metals very closely here. I do like the idea of a big, nice dump into reload zones to set up buy windows for the traders. All right, we'll see how that goes. All right. Yeah, actually, here's a good example of me going through that screener. I think this is one of the TSX. Where the hell is that? The TSX screeners, ESI. Okay, well, I got this name somewhere else. It's not off of that screen list. But, you know, just a good example of this is Ensign Energy Services. Hopefully everybody can understand the logic, reload zones. This is a reload zone within a reload zone. I don't know whether I have enough justification to go and pull the trigger here. It's still a little bit early, but if I got a nice good looking W that came in here, I might take a good look at this guy. So I am interested in energy names, but probably just more as sort of seasonal trade than anything else. I love the uranium. Okay. Let's head on over to crypto. And we're seeing some really cool price action in crypto these days. So, all right. So first things first, good old Bitcoin. Still believe this thesis. I personally believe that we are in hangover. We are marching our way through the end of the hangover. It's a real pain in the ass getting through these hangovers. And actually, I heard something really interesting the other day. Is there anybody here eat ceviche? You know what ceviche is? Shane, yeah, you know what ceviche is. I heard if you're supposed to soak the fish in like some brine or something like that, and lime, and the acids of the lime kill the bacteria in the fish. But anyway, what it was really interesting, lemon, I guess, yeah. And what I thought was really cool was the guy on the cooking show did that, but he goes, "Save that juice, save that juice." It turns out that they say, and Dav probably can confirm this, down in South America, they use that juice. They say it's absolutely the best hangover medication. Anybody ever heard that before? So, if you do like ceviche or you like making it, and, maybe you drink, maybe you don't. But it was interesting. They were saying that at Dav, have you ever heard that before down in South America, that the juice is supposed to be really good for hangovers? And they do like shots of that juice. So yeah, Shane, we probably should make note of that here. Be careful. All right. I mean, I don't know. Me personally, Jojo, she used to love that kind of stuff. I'm not really that big of a cook kind of thing. I'd eat it at a restaurant, but I thought it was fascinating. Sort of a side note, totally random there. Sorry, guys. But speaking of hangovers, right? I guess that's what brought that to mind. And I got a funny feeling I'm going to be really hungover tomorrow. What do you think, Shane? Am I going to make it through tonight all right? You better not be bringing that damn moonshine out or else I'm in trouble. No comment? Oh, Shane went quiet here. I'm not endorsing it. I just thought it was, and he did have it in the fridge, so good point. But I thought it was just interesting considering Bitcoin hangover, and I saw that on TV yesterday. So I was actually really quite surprised, and I don't know whether I talked to you guys in the daily brief about this before, but basically I just threw on the October 21st to the end of the year price action from 2014, and frankly speaking, I'm quite shocked at how similar this is, right? Correlation, confluence, whatever you want to call it, but sort of chop, 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 dump, right? And then big rally, and then roll over. And what do we do in reality? Chop, 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 dump, big, bottom, market's trying to rally. We're all expecting a rally here. I think a rally is coming in Bitcoin. But the question is, what happens on the other side of this rally? I'm a little concerned that we've all just sort of decided that Bitcoin's going to bottom and that this is it. There will be no lower lows, which to me almost smells trappy. So I like the idea of accumulating Bitcoin. We've talked lots and lots over the past weeks and months about using, where the hell is it? I don't even think I have like a weekly chart on here anywhere. I used to use those Coinigy charts, but then they blew up on me. What should I do? Well, why don't we just do a new one? New chart. BTC USD. I love the idea of just. In fact, I even talked to Sjord about this morning. He said, "Hey, I found I got a tax break. Turns out I have to pay less income taxes and on a monthly basis." And I said, "Great, all right. Well, just throw that monthly income tax refund into Bitcoin on a nice monthly basis, dollar cost averaging, and if anything, you're rooting for Bitcoin prices to go down." But we talk about the weekly chart. It scares me how there's this open air pocket down here. I mean, maybe we can put in a base here and not look back. We are technically in that reload zone, So I don't have a problem with little old ladies just going and nibbling away, or I don't have a problem with that at all. But at the same time, too, and I think I talked to you guys about this a day or two ago, especially when I did that public show, we often see that the market has to lose 78.6, and then we come back and we find out that later on, the market actually used that as a pivot. I've seen that happen time and time again with altcoins, Bitcoin, with commodities. So, I know there's one gentleman on the site. Oh, there he is. Geez, and he's actually here very religiously. And he's waiting for this event. Come on, baby. Come to me down in this area, right, Mr. Climbing the mountains of Switzerland with me. Market will do any old damn thing it wants. I actually think I wouldn't be surprised if there's a nice little pop-up here and then a dump, and then we start this sort of cleanup process. So, like kind of what I said in the conversation with the YouTubers, right, is I think there's probably like 60% chance that we bottomed here. That's pretty close to 50, right? It's, toss of the coin. Bitcoin could do either one thing. I do like the idea of a nice little short-term up here, and then, we talk about hangover, right? I do like this move here. And what I found that's happening right now, guys, is they're ramping the alts through this window. So if you do play alts, if you have been nanny nibbling, if you do, sell halves on doubles, make damn sure to have all those orders working, because I can feel them, and I load up Twitter on a regular basis every morning, and I see old TRI alumni banging out doubles all over the place. It's great. It's like infectious. We're like a virus, right? And we're spreading across the internet. So I can see TRIers are banging out doubles. Are you going to get a double on Bitcoin itself? I don't think so. But I actually like the idea, believe it or not, that we actually get Bitcoin to be like a stable coin. And let's let all these little alts have their fun. And, like one this morning that I absolutely love, and this is everything that I'm trying to teach you guys, is like the Zcash, right? I'm not looking for new highs here. Everybody knows that I went and picked up a bit in the reload zone. And now we're getting W's coming in here. Of course, Brian tweets about this, and that's usually what stops these things in its tracks. But nonetheless, higher highs and higher lows defines a bull market. This high was 127.76. And this high here is 130. That's a higher high. Yay. Uh-oh. Oh, isn't that interesting? Rocket Chat uses a lot of memory, eh? Do you guys notice that? I just had my Rocket Chat go, oh, Jesus, man, what a mess. Yeah. Well, that would be evil. Letting Raph loose in Texas? Oh, Jesus. The ladies would love him, eh, Thomas? Oh, my God. They would absolutely love him. Everything's bigger in Texas. Raph, you would fit in so perfectly. Get him a nice big 10-gallon hat. That would be hilarious. That would be perfect. That would be absolutely perfect. But actually, and maybe, down the road, and it really all depends on whether your leader is going to let us foreigners into his country anymore or not. But maybe we should plan on doing like a Texas meetup. Wouldn't that be cool? I haven't been down to southern Texas area in a long, long time. And actually that reminds me, and Raph, actually, it's good that we have you here. There's a UK meetup, and actually Jamie's going to do a presentation for us tomorrow morning, right? So there's a UK meetup coming up here in early December. And I'm going to buy Sjord's plane ticket. I'd like Sjord to come to that UK meetup and sort of be a, official TRI management representative there kind of thing. So Raf, if you could maybe sort of touch base with Sjord, I would totally appreciate that. And anyone else that's in the UK, if you want to, help Sjord out and find a place to crash or something like that while he's there, I think it would be really cool to have Sjord. And you guys all should meet Sjord face to face. I mean, he's such a sweetheart. You're all going to fall in love with him. So I'm glad I saw you there, Raf, and thank you, Thomas, for sort of bringing that to my attention. So I would really like Sjord to be at that UK meeting. I can't make it, of course. I'm on the other side of the world. But yeah, and W Ryan there says yes, come to Texas, and of course Thomas there is our sort of Texas contact. But I actually like the idea. So next summer, let's try and hook up and everybody come to Vancouver, and I'll like rent a nice, really nice pad here, and we'll have like a party over, say, a week or something over next summer, which I think will be totally a lot of fun. And maybe, I don't know, a year from now or something, we'll plan to do Southern US, Texas or something like that. My old man used to live in Turtle Creek. Do you know where that is, Thomas and Ryan? Turtle Creek? I think that's in Dallas. I don't know whether you guys like Dallas or not, though. Anyway, the point here is that I do see the bottoms coming in on alts, and actually one that I'm really interested in that I think I might just go and buy here if it breaks out to here. Can everybody see the W coming in on OMG? So very much like the Zcash. I don't think I'm going to reload zone this. I think I'm just going to go and buy the W here. But if we break out through the top here, hopefully everybody can see this W. I think I might just go and buy some of this. I did take a stab off of this W and it failed. Shit happens. We got stopped out, and as you can sort of see here, waiting for setup, I'm getting ready to step back in on this OMG. So keep an eye on this one, everybody who is interested in altcoin ideas. And I'm not going to be playing it in Tether. I'm not in Tether anymore. But I'll be watching the OMG just exactly like that Zcash on a break. And this, this is a funny bottom here with this funny wick up top here. I guess actually I might even want to just go in and work a bid. Let this thing break out, and then I'll just go work my stink bid at this gapping area right in here. But I'm very interested in this OMG here. So what do you think, guys? Can you see why I might be interested in that trade? Most of us non-Dallas Texans aren't huge fans of Dallas. That's why I sort of said, like, oh, yeah, maybe you like Turtle Creek, maybe you don't. So, I appreciate that, WWW Ryan. What did you learn today, Benjamin? Benjamin says, what I learned today. I want to know what you learned today. Sure hope you learned something. Stone cold. But, the point that I would just make with crypto is I think we have a catalyst coming up. Everybody knows what the catalyst is. Who can tell me what the catalyst is? Everybody should know this off the top of their head. Pretty simple stuff. No, not for crypto. Thank you, Kevin. Backed, right? Shane, you're really big on backed, aren't you? There's somebody on here who's just like always talking about back. I think it's Thomas. Thomas loves talking about back. Anyway, so I think the market wants to rally into that event. I think if anything is in the back of my mind real good. Okay. Thank you, Shane. Baby's got backed. So I think, if anything, we're probably going to have a friendly market until that event happens. And, they might bid Bitcoin price up into that event. And then, of course, buy the rumor, sell the news. On the other side of that, we probably should expect pause. So if you want to set yourself up to trade this event, okay, great. Once the event's over with, my hunch is a lot of these alts are going to sort of come back down to earth. So, if you're little old ladying this, you don't even really care. You're just buying very small amounts, location. We're work your order, sell halves on doubles, and you're just going to let your money work. And if it takes you a year to get a double, well, so fucking what, right? Little old lady. You know, that's the weird thing. I was thinking about this the other day. For you young guys, right, a year of your life seems like forever, especially if you're like a teenager. 1 year is just like, oh my God, you know, and you think about it, it's like 5-10% of your life. To a little old lady, and even a guy like me in my late 40s, 1 year is like nothing. I mean, hell, it just feels like yesterday that my wife passed away, and that's like 8 years ago. So, you know, in a weird sort of way, us older people, a year or two sitting on an asset to get a double is not really that big of a deal. I remember we always say in the brokerage industry, 3 to 5 year time horizon, blah, 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 right? So, you know, if you're little old ladying this stuff, no big deal, right? And of course, we got Litecoin halvening coming up. We got Bitcoin halvening coming up. We got Jupiter Saturn cross coming up. There's going to be lots of volatility in the market going forward here. Lots of opportunity for us to make money. If you are just trading setups, 2-to-1 risk reward, 3-to-1 risk reward, then my advice to you is just simply, you know, use this window. The market is obviously moving up. Things are catching a bid. Enjoy the rally. Build your plan so that you're doing things like, you know, moving stop to break even on 2-to-1 level hits. You're banging out, you know, small profits. Then start trailing, you know, stops. Try to stay in the positions as long as possible. And you're just running a small business of trading. So it's really important that you vet out what type of investor trader you are. I can't tell you what type of a trader you are. That's the whole purpose of the Level 1 program, is to force you to go through verbal diarrhea and try and figure out what type of investor you are. You know, maybe you started off as a little old lady because it's nice and simple, and you're just practicing trading setups until you get really good at that. That's fine. But the bottom line here is you have to articulate what it is your strategy is individually. Super important. You know, the 3 trades that I put on recently, Decred, Verge, and Zcash. Today, it's Zcash who's outperforming. We had Decred rocking and rolling there a month or so ago. And then I sort of said, well, I'm going to move my stop to scratch. And if it comes back down and stops me out, well, so be it. And you can see the Decred guys are just fucking with my head right now. But there's nothing to do here, so I just haven't done anything. And as I said, the story today happens to be Zcash. Go figure. And I got a funny feeling. I'm almost tempted, but I'm not going to do it because I said I was going to just work this. And if this does come down to my entry level, I'll walk away. But I'm almost tempted just to take the money I have working in Decred and just go and buy OMG with that money. But I think if OMG does break out, I'll just go and find some new money to throw at this because I really do like this W. I think there is money to be made here. It's just a question of you know, just getting that W to come in. I mean, gee whiz, guys, look at this. I mean, this is $30, so that's like 1/10 that price. This is why so many people make money trading these, like, you know, they call them penny stocks, you know, cryptocurrencies. You can call them whatever you want. I'm not going to look for $30, but I'm definitely going to look for 50% rules. And can you see how this is just exactly like we looked at Mylan Labs? Same thing. No difference. Same shit, different pile. So at $16, what is that? From $3.5? That's a double. It's a quintuple, 4-fold trade there, just sitting there. Well, I'm willing to take that kind of risk. The first doubling isn't even 38.2. Yeah, that's right. Where is 38.2? We should probably, at the very least, expect, and probably what's going to happen is we'll run into a lot of traffic against these old lows. But I wouldn't be surprised, kind of like what you see, that you'll get like your violent pop. And then, you know, if you had sell halves on double orders working, you get your fills. If you didn't, right, it'll just come back down to earth and you've missed the trade. But man, there is a lot of money to be made in this space right now. And the great part about it, hopefully all of you guys can see, like Jacques, if that is your real name, which I know it isn't. But he's such a cool guy. I'll let him be called Jacques. You've been sticking around TRI now for about a year. Can you see how this venture capital cycle works? Right? I know you got interested in crypto and shit through these insane face rips, but ironically enough, nobody in the public is interested in this stuff now. And I would argue this is now when we actually have to get interested on the buy side. So really great market, guys. Really take advantage of this, please. Okay, that is past the top of the hour. I hope you guys enjoyed the presentation today. Benjamin, I never figured out what you learned today. If you actually could tell me, I'd appreciate it so that maybe I could remind myself and I could learn it too. Great to see you here, Thomas. And say hi to your brother for me. Raf, if you could reach out to Sjord, I'd totally appreciate it. Dav, we're going to talk to you next week and learn about Pandora's Wallet. Hey, Jack's actually got the camera on. Uh-oh, now he's gone. The one thing that scares the hell out of me about Murad is when he fucking puts the damn daily brief on while he's driving and he's watching the screen while he's driving. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ, you can get yourself killed. All right, and then, of course, Shane, there he is, and I bet you he's driving right now. And there's his 13 friends. But that's another conversation altogether, right? We won't go there today. Yeah. Anyway, Shane, I will see you later on this afternoon. When do we want to hook up? Maybe we'll talk a bit after I've done recording. But thank you very much, everybody, for participating. What do you think, Mr. Mayor? Did we do a half-decent job? Hey, there you are, Mark. Cool. Good to see you're still alive, dude. I've been worried about you. Mr. Mayor, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it was an awesome brief, as usual, Brian, and I'm looking forward tomorrow. I guess we got presentations lined up.
Yeah, we got a lot of really cool information. We got Jamie doing FA, and then we've got Adam and James giving us an update on Puerto Rico. So super excited for those presentations. So, okay, why don't we leave it at that for today, guys? Hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you very much, everybody, for participating. Great to see Chaba in the lounge here. I miss you, buddy. I think the only thing left to say, guys, is have yourselves a great day. All the best, and a big bye for now.